We are live. How you doing, buddy?
Hey man, yeah, I'm really good. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Got quite a few things to talk about today. Some cool horror news, but we're
Yeah,
kind of starting on a bit of a downer, really. It's
yeah.
the breaking news this week that Cineworld has shut all of their UK screens, including Picture House, which they also own, and Regal Cinemas in the US, which is the second biggest US chain. So Cineworld as a company are the biggest cinema company in the world. And they've now shut all of their cinemas until it looks like 2021.
You don't realise how big they are, do you? Because of
No,
the different names in different regions. It's
exactly. Yeah.
really a massive overarching company, and yeah, this is a big. I mean, when the news first broke, my immediate reaction was shit. They're closing. I didn't think about like the other countries.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't read it properly. It was just a headline reaction. I thought they were actually going bust, and that was it. They were closing for good. So when I found out that actually they're closing till next year, my first reaction was, well, what a relief that is. But then, of course, when you realise then that actually this is a really, really bad thing,
Yeah.
and lots
Yeah.
of people are going to lose jobs over this, no doubt. Certainly, lots of people are going to be in positions of great uncertainty, and it has a massive effect on the the film industry for cinema releases.
Yeah, man. When this news broke, I mean, it broke that they were thinking about doing it. They put out a statement, said that it's not official. They're thinking about doing it, but then come Monday of this week, yeah, unfortunately, they did announce the closure. As soon as I saw the headline and I read the first story, it was just about Cineworld. But I remember earlier in the year reading a couple of articles about where they had just purchased Regal Cinema. I believe that deal went through this year. So, my initial reaction was this is huge. They're the biggest cinema chain in the UK. And just as importantly, they now own the second biggest cinema chain in the US, which, as we know, is a far bigger market than the UK. So I should just touch on that. Cineworld made this decision off the back of the latest James Bond film being
Yes.
delayed. It wasn't just James Bond, it's a unfortunate domino effect
Yeah, we're
of
starting to see lots now, aren't we?
yes. I mean, we've spoke about over the last 10 or so weeks since we've been doing this podcast. Every week we seem to be talking about a film that is being delayed
I
and
think
pushed.
Batman's just been
Yeah,
announced as delayed
yeah.
as well now, hasn't it?
Yeah, Batman has been pushed, I believe, all the way into 2022.
Yeah, I think
Because this is
that's
the
right.
problem,
Yeah.
right? The domino effect is there's only so many slots these
Yeah.
studios have to fill. They don't want to put all their films out at the same time because then they're just competing with themselves. So if the films this year get pushed, then the films due out next year get pushed. Yeah, it's a big problem, man. But the reason I really wanted to bring it up and what I wanted to discuss with you about is I also had a slightly different reaction to this, where one of the things that really, really struck me with this is doesn't this just show cinema's over reliance on big studio films? Because there isn't a lack of films to come out. There are plenty of independent films, right? Last
Mm,
week we
mm.
covered Fright Fest. They have got 5 days of a completely stacked lineup. Some of them films, I think would get some bums in seats. Yeah, they're not going to do James Bond numbers. They're not going to do Marvel numbers, DC numbers, Star Wars numbers. Of course they're not. But why are they not being given an opportunity?
Mm.
Why
Yeah,
are
that's right.
these films not being put in the cinema? And I think this has to be looked at as a real state of the industry. The fact that as soon as the blockbusters are taken out, the whole thing collapses. That can't be right. That can't be
Yeah.
sustainable. It can't be.
Yeah, I mean as you said, you look at the what Fright Fest are doing in horror, just being one genre. All the films that are out there that could be shown, they could have like shorter films coming in as double features, and look at the popularity of like resurrecting old films for a bit of
Yeah.
nostalgia as well. There's films that I would love to see at the cinema that I never got the opportunity to, and all the new content that's being made all the time that doesn't get the opportunity. Yeah, I think they've
Yeah.
missed a trick here.
I mean, if you talk about the biggest film of 2020, especially in the horror genre, but I would argue maybe overall, not in terms of box office numbers, but in terms of people talking about it in press and stuff like it's definitely Host, the Shudder original Zoom horror film. That to me proves there is this giant audience ready to lap up some original content. Now, from what I understand, Host is going to cinemas now. It will be going to the cinemas that are left open. However, yeah, I just really think it shows the state of the industry.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think you could look at it the other way there. But I mean, if this film that's come out of nowhere is now hopefully going to have a cinema release, these big cinema chains could stream stuff for this period in the first instance, and then move it to cinemas when this is all over.
Yeah,
Because I would still go and watch it. It's a different experience. It's
I
completely
completely
different.
agree.
You can't,
Completely agree.
seeing a film. If you think something like Star Wars or something like that, the experience of seeing it at home, you can't get the same experience with the sound, the size of it, other people,
Yeah,
and they could do that with they could do a reverse kind of release on streaming first, then the cinema, when hopefully this is all over. But in the meantime, they should be giving smaller films the chance. The smaller films that and would have no hope of making anywhere near that money or even getting into cinemas would be fantastic.
yeah,
You think
I
of all
agree.
these things that people miss out on seeing. A lot of people are of the mindset, well, if it's not come out of the cinema, I've never heard of it, or if it's not come out of the cinema, it's going to be crap. That's just
Yeah,
not true,
yeah.
and that's not people's fault because
No, it's not. It's not. I
I mean,
think the
for a long
cinemas
time, I was
definitely
the
play a
same
part.
way.
Yeah,
You're conditioned, aren't you, to
yeah,
think this is you got to see this, watch this, watch this, watch this.
yeah.
Independents don't have that. It's only really with the streaming services that people have started to broaden their horizon, and that's a good thing. I just think they I mean, obviously, we don't know their financial situation, but there must have been something they could do. I would have thought.
Well, I think that even if right now maybe there wasn't something they could do, I do think that them, like, look, the studios put huge pressure on them with these
Mm,
films.
mm,
They're taking less of a cut than they've ever taken on these big blockbusters. They are given demands of it has to be on so many screens and you have to book it for so many weeks. And if you want this one film, you have to take these other films. Yeah, the studios are hammering the cinemas to take these films. However, I feel moving forward, they have to I would hope they would be a little bit more strict on allowing other films, smaller films, to play on these screens. In the last 15 years, a lot of people would say that the mid-budget film has disappeared. There is no mid-budget film anymore. You either have your 1 million to 5 million picture, which is a lot of the Blumhouse stuff, a lot of this horror stuff that really takes off. Mainly 1 million, like now and again
mm.
you'll get one that's a little bit high, your Invisible Man, stuff like that. But apart from that, it's mainly 1 million. Then there are very little 30-40 million dollar films now. You then jump all the way to 100+ million. And I feel that's because there is no room in the cinema for those films anymore. In the last 10 years, especially, we've got into a real trap, I feel, where you go to a cinema, you go to a multiplex, a big Cineworld multiplex, a big Odeon multiplex, or a AMC in America, or Regal in America. You could have 20 screens. 15 of them are Disney films,
Mm.
as in Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar,
Yep.
whatever it is, right? But you have 20 screens and 3/4 of them are taken up by the big studios.
That's interesting
That's not right.
because you're absolutely right there. I never realised how much of a stake in films in a cinema at any one time Disney as an overarching company has.
Oh, Disney control.
Absolutely. Now they've got Pixar and Marvel and the Star Wars
Well, now they
films.
got Fox as well.
Fox. I mean, I know we're deviating slightly, but it's all related. But I'm assuming Indiana Jones will be coming under their control at some point.
It is under their control. Lucasfilm it's under the Lucasfilm banner. So when they purchased
But there
Star
must
Wars,
be some restrictions in place at the moment because obviously the Indiana Jones films aren't on Disney Plus.
yeah, I think that's just purely a streaming deal. But then I think Disney they're being very careful with like what goes on Disney Plus because they want it to be very, very family friendly. I would argue Indiana Jones is. I think there's probably more of a deal there with some other streamer where they've got it for a certain amount of time. A little bit like the Marvel films were on Netflix for a certain amount of time, and now Disney have pulled them all off. But so this is an interest. This is a very, very interesting topic, and this is kind of where we leave this because I feel like the state of the industry is in Disney's hands. And here's why I say this: Disney last year, I think, had bigger share of the market than any studio's ever had, and I think they've been climbing that for the past five years or so. Right? You think of the biggest hits of any year, right? You would have Star Wars, you would have Marvel, Pixar, their own films, right? Any of their own animation or their live action remakes. Disney hold such a huge grasp that they now own Fox, so the Avatar films are now under the Disney banner. They own everything, right? I think we're on a tipping point at the minute because Disney have just launched Disney Plus. It has been way bigger of a success than they believed it would be in its first year. Mulan went on Disney Plus. From what I understand, there's no official numbers, but from stuff I've seen, in terms of, it was, I think, £20 over here to rent.
It's quite pricey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pricey. $30 in America to rent. From what I understand, enough people rented that in America for them to get their budget back and more off the back of it. And that's just America. That's not the rest of the world. And also, what should be noted is when they do a film on pay-per-view on Disney Plus like that, they take 100% of that profit. They're not, when it goes in cinemas, they have to share something with cinemas. I think Disney have a ridiculous ratio of like they get 65%, I think, or 70% on some films, but they're still giving something to cinemas. Disney Plus, they're not at all. It's just been announced this week, and I know this isn't horror, but it's just been announced this week that Soul, the latest Pixar film, will now skip cinemas in America, and on Christmas Day will be available on Disney Plus. If Disney make enough money to make their budgets back, and they take 100% of that profit, Disney could put less and less films into the cinema. Now, one, that could be really good because that opens up slots for smaller films. However, that could also be really bad. Cinemas could collapse because, the general public, they're not going back to the cinema for these smaller films. You've got to build that up over time. But they're going for the Marvel films. They're going for Black Widow. They would have gone for Soul. They're going to go for the next Star Wars film. They're going to go for the next whatever. But you take them films out because Disney now can make more money on Disney Plus.
I suppose the real test will be when the COVID pandemic is a thing of the past, and it will be one day. I suppose the test will be if they were to put a film at the cinema and a film on streaming at the same time, where would the big bucks be? And, evidently there's going to be people who prefer watching at home. There's going to be people who prefer watching in the cinema. But would there be enough people at the cinema to keep it going? That would be the real question, I think. And it's probably something they're already considering. But I think in time, and it would take a long time, I would hope one positive to come out of it if Disney did pull out and the cinema industry did find itself in a very precarious position. I would like to hope that creates room in time for smaller chains to appear again and more independents to appear where they've got much more control over what they're showing. There's no reason why there couldn't be a smaller cinema in every place that there is a cinema now, just run independently or a smaller scale.
I think that is what we're going to get. I honestly believe when this is all said and done, the cinema industry is going to look very, very different.
Mm.
I honestly believe there could be a real olive branch extended to smaller films. I think we might see a lot of smaller films back in the cinema. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a return of that mid-budget film.
Yes.
Those films, you know, that have disappeared in the last 5 to 10 years. I think, yeah, it's going to be very, very different. And, you know, bear in mind, where I leave this, where I close this before we move on to the next topic, is before this shutdown, before Cineworld shut down all their cinemas, they had already released a statement where they had said at their current operation, so this was when they reopened for tenant, basically, at their current operations, which has now been pushed back even further, they do not expect to return to normal business until at least the summer of 2023.
Wow.
And that's now
Okay.
possibly been delayed by maybe another 6 months. Crazy, man. But this is one we're definitely keep an eye on, because I think things are going to change, man. I think we're either going to have a lot more stuff on streaming, and, you know, cinema experience is really going to change.
Do you know, I would love to open a little independent cinema.
Oh, it'd
I
be
would
great, wouldn't
love
it?
that. Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Be great.
You know, when this is over, maybe that's
Yeah.
something we should
Look
look
into.
into. It
Yeah.
would be brilliant.
I agree, man. I agree. I'd love to do it. I'd love to. Yeah, I think we could do something in roundabout where we live and stuff like that, and then,
Yeah,
you know, I
we
mean,
need more out where we are. I think
we
it'd be
do need more
great.
out where we. I mean, I'm already considering bringing the festival out of London and putting
Yeah.
it more Essex based, because we don't really have anything like that. We don't
No,
have too many. You know, London has loads, so
I
you
feel
know,
like I'm on the Essex tourism board now, because like I say, you know, we've got great links into London, easy to
yeah,
get
we do
to.
feel it, don't we? Yeah.
Lovely scenery. We're
Right.
not all orange tans.
No, no, we're not. Bloody hell, we're not. Right. Moving on to some horror. I unfortunately did not get time to watch the first two Blumhouse films that have debuted on Amazon. Now you have.
I have, yeah.
Take it away, sir.
Well, I mean, the first thing I've got to say is, so I watched the films, and the first thing I did was read other people's reviews of them,
Okay, interesting.
and there's a lot of hate out there for these two films, and
So
I don't.
what two, just for the guys and girls out
This
listening,
was
what two?
the first two that have been released under the Welcome to Blumhouse, I think it is, banner
Yes. Yep.
on Amazon Prime, and it's The Lie and Black Box. You know, there've been some good reviews, but there's quite a few negative reviews, and I don't recognise it at all. I enjoyed both of them. I enjoyed one a lot more. The one that I didn't enjoy so much was actually the one when we discussed them a few weeks ago that I said I was the most looking forward to,
Yeah.
and that was Black Box.
Well, the funny thing was, these were both our top picks, right? Your top pick
Yes,
was Black
yeah,
Box, mine was The Lie. So
yeah, and
it's funny that they've debuted these two first.
I think knowing the kind of stuff you like, Scott, I think you're really going to love The Lie.
Oh,
I
good.
think.
Good.
So Black Box is about this young man who's in a horrific car accident. He loses his wife, and he loses his memory as well. He's got his memory now, and he's got vague memories of the past, and he's
Okay.
left looking after his young daughter. Now, in order to try and be a better father to her, because he forgets to pick her up from school and things like this, he agrees to this experiment to unlocking those memories to try and help him. And as the film goes on, he gets deeper and deeper into these memories. Invariably, it doesn't go to plan, and there's something in those memories that's haunting him. You don't know, you know, is it a ghost, a monster? Is it his own mind? Is it someone out external doing it to him? You know, what's going on? It's that kind of film. Now, the reason why I was really looking forward to it was because although it didn't necessarily offer anything new, I thought I'm very interested in that kind of science fiction and horror about the mind, that kind of technology kind of thing. You know, things like the Matrix and
Yeah.
very similar kind of things. So that's why I thought I would really like it, and I did enjoy it. I know we spoke about it over text before we came on.
Yeah.
I'm down on it because I didn't love it,
Yeah.
and I thought I
Yeah.
was going to love it based on the
So
trailer.
I said it looked a little bit like an episode of Black Mirror.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Absolutely spot on. Yeah, spot on. And it's
Okay.
like it's that mixed up with like Inception and
Right.
the
Okay.
Matrix. And in fact, it can't be a coincidence that the lead, his character is called Nolan in it.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
obviously a little nod there.
Definitely.
Acting was fine. It progressed nicely. I didn't feel like there was any peril. So one of the things in the trailer that you see as, a kind of the point of fear in it is this thing that's stalking him in his dreams.
Yes. Yeah.
During this experiment. The problem is, I just didn't find it scary at all. And when you look at it, the kind of it's a person sort of bent over, walking backwards, creaking, cracking, and I
Right.
think
Right.
that's been done to death.
Yeah.
I've seen that a million times, all the way
Yeah.
back
It
to
has.
Reagan in The Exorcist, spider walking down the
Yeah.
stairs. It offered nothing new in that regard, and it just wasn't scary. It's not to say it's not a bad. It's a bad film. I enjoyed watching it. I did. I
Right.
just didn't. I didn't love it, and that's what disappointed me because I was really up for that. It was the one I really wanted to see.
I mean, it didn't put you off
And
so much because you then went and watched A Lie today, right?
oh, it didn't put me
So it
off. It
didn't put
didn't
you
put
off
me
for
off.
seeing
No,
it.
and I think everything I've just said is kind of what you predicted about the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
That you was interested in seeing it, but it didn't bowl you over because of some of those reasons. I remember you said from the beginning when we talked about them a couple of weeks ago that you felt like this was an episode of Black Mirror, and it has got that vibe.
Yeah.
What I will say though is the kind of the twist that they put in it, the reveal, which happens surprisingly early in the film, like just around the halfway point, I wasn't expecting at all. Didn't see it
Oh,
coming.
they do it
So
like quite early.
they,
That's
they do
interesting.
it very early, and then once you realise what the reveal is, you're kind of having to readjust, and you
Yeah.
live with that. Then, okay, so where does this go from here?
Right.
And that was
Right.
quite good. I thought that was quite smart doing it early on because
Interesting.
you kind of got another view on the story, and I didn't see it coming. Wasn't expecting it at all.
Interesting.
So that was a big plus for me on that.
So another thing we was wondering was runtime of these films. Are they full feature lengths or are they?
I think the black box is. I'm just looking up. Yeah, so it's black box is 140. The live one, yeah, 137. So
Oh, so a good time. A
tight.
good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not like the sprawling two
No.
hour plus that we
No.
get
But
nowadays.
they're not
And
like a cut
neither. I
down
mean, no, you and I both had a feeling they might have a 1 hour kind
one
of
hour
because they're.
runtime.
I
Yeah.
suppose because they're releasing so many so quickly, we kind of felt it was almost like an anthology. You're going to get like,
Yes. Yes.
but no, it's they're proper standalone.
Okay.
So
The
coming on to
lie.
the line.
Yes.
Uh, complete reverse. This surprised me. I thought I was going to think this
Okay.
was quite mediocre, but I really loved it. And funnily enough, this is the one that I saw some scathing reviews about.
Interesting.
And I just, bad acting, bad decisions made in the film, and
Right.
I don't recognise that at all. So
Okay.
the basic plot, you get all this from the trailer, so giving nothing away. A young girl is with her dad. They meet her friend as they're traveling to a ballet camp, dance camp, and they pick up her friend, which is completely random. They go into the woods for a wee, and all of a sudden the daughter starts screaming. She says she's killed her. She's killed her friend. She's pushed her off a bridge. Now the parents then decide, rather than going to the police because the daughter has admitted to murder, essentially, they decide to cover it up. You didn't mean to do it. We'll cover it up. And as you can imagine, the lies kind of escalate.
Yep.
The dad's looking for his daughter. Where is she? The police are involved, and it just gets a bigger and bigger web of deceit. That's the story, and the story, as we thought, is about the lengths two parents will go to protect their child. Now, the downer I would say on it, from just over the halfway point, I would say I thought I predicted how it was going to end. It's pretty easy to see it coming once you get into the film, but that didn't spoil it for me because I was so invested in them. I felt really tense watching it, thinking what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I mean, it stars Peter Sarsgaard as the dad, and he's absolutely standout, fantastic in it.
Yeah. Can't go wrong, can you?
And I kind of felt like, yes, at the beginning, you know, the decision to cover up the murder, is questionable. But you can kind of see how once they take the decision to make that first big lie, the succession of lies, the decisions they make a lot of the reviews said, "Oh, that's ridiculous. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that." Well, but actually, I viewed it differently. I thought once you've committed to that first big one, once
Yeah.
you've decided to do that, everything else, you're in that position. They're just trying to dig themselves out.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I found it very tense. I was really invested in the characters, really wanted to know what was going to happen, really felt panicky for them. Every time like the police knocked on the door or something, I thought it was great, really, really great. And I'd probably watch it again. I might even watch it again tonight. I liked it that much.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to watch both. I'm definitely going to watch both. But I'm glad. Yeah, I'm really happy with what you said about The Lie, because that was obviously the one I was most looking forward to. So yeah,
You've got an eye for these on the trailer, Scott. You've
yeah,
you've pinned them both, and don't get me wrong. As I say, Black Box is perfectly enjoyable.
worth a watch.
It's a
Yeah,
good film. I like the ending, but I wouldn't necessarily watch it again. I mean, if I was flicking through and it was on, yeah, great,
yeah,
I might watch it again. Whereas The Lie, I'm actively gonna go and watch it again to see
yes,
if I can
yeah,
see any little bits and pieces I missed the
yeah.
first time.
Looking forward to it, man.
I would say this is a solid start from the series from Blumhouse. I mean, I
Good,
think
good.
off the back of these two, I can't wait for. I think it's next week, isn't it? Somewhere
Is
around the
it? Is it that
19th.
quick? I didn't
Yeah,
realize it was that quick.
no,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So it was this week, a week off. Then the 19th is the
Right.
next two.
Yeah. Do
Then
you
the
know what you
next
saying that?
four
Yeah,
are
I
after.
think you're right.
So then they have a
Yes.
break. The next four are after Christmas.
That's it. That's right. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm thinking of. Because yeah, there's
Yeah,
obviously 8 in total, isn't there? And then we don't
yeah.
even know what the other 4 are yet, do we?
No, we don't know, but
Yeah. No, you're right.
check
That's
them out.
exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that. So that you saying about the Lie family stuff, getting into that.
Mm,
One of the
mm.
things I touched on last week. Do you know what? I forgot to even bring it back up with you. Did you manage to watch that Netflix documentary, American Murder?
No, not yet. I'm
Right.
still
Okay.
watching. I'm
That's fine.
binging
That's fine.
The Walking Dead. Not that I
Yeah.
like the word binging.
But let's yeah, let's
I need
put
to
a
pick
peg
it
in
up.
for that
Yeah.
for next week. But what I will say is people saying, how do you get into a lie and run with it?
Mm.
American Murder. Like people do, right? People do
Exactly.
get
That's the
into,
thing. You're in a desperate position. In the
you
film
make
The
a
Lie,
horrible
they
decision. Yeah,
desperately want to save their
yeah,
daughter.
yeah.
Who can say what they would do until that situation comes up? You know,
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
you're gonna
It
you're
does
gonna
happen.
believe you're gonna watch a film and believe a blonde man with blue eyes can fly around with a magic hammer, and
Right.
you don't believe two parents would lie to save their child.
Exactly. Yeah. Great way of putting it. Great way of putting it. Oddly enough, going from one myth to a cosmic chiller that will be world premiering at Fright Fest called Sacrifice.
Mm.
So when we previewed Fright Fest last week, I didn't bring this one up. If I had known what it was, I definitely would have brought it up. So this is a film by two filmmakers who made a film called Charismata a few years ago, and I have had the pleasure of meeting them. Great guys. And I originally knew about this film, but it was called The Color of Madness, which is a title I absolutely love. I guarantee it isn't them that changed the title. It's a distribution thing. So when I saw this film just down a sacrifice, I kind of just looked past it because it didn't register with me, where a few of the others I picked did register with me. But no, I'm definitely down for this. Stars the incredible Barbara Crampton, and yeah, there's not a trailer, but there's a clip that's been released for it that I sent to you. As I said, cosmic horror, cosmic chiller, as they're calling it. What did you think of the clip?
I was just having a look, and it's actually on the Thursday, so it's the first one on a Thursday, and I believe it clashes with Stranger, which I was looking at.
Yes. Yeah.
The problem is because I didn't pick this either. I think if I'd have seen that clip, it would have been top of my list to watch.
Yes.
It's interesting they call it a cosmic horror as well because I got severe H.P. Lovecraft vibes from that clip and what they were talking about, the deity that they've got up on the wall. It just reminded me so much of, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but the main Lovecraft entity, the tentacled
Yeah.
space sea monster, reminded me very much of the line about him where he lies dead dreaming, and this entity in the stranger in the Stranger, sorry, in Sacrifice, is sleeping, and they said and sometimes dreams, and I just found that very compelling, and I liked how claustrophobic that clip was, just at the table.
Brilliantly acted.
Obviously, something not quite right going on, and you
Yes.
really feel for that pregnant lady because we're all watching it thinking that don't seem right, and she's happily sitting there eating her dinner, and you think, please no, just leave. But yeah, I mean, I might have to rethink what I'm watching on Thursday because that looks really, really good.
Yeah, this is definitely one I'm going to be checking out. The Andy, one of the directors, I done a kind of Comic Con panel with him a few years ago, and
Oh,
it
cool.
was, and they like literally off the back of that, he was flying out to go and make this film. So I got to talk to him a little bit about what it was about. And you touching on Lovecraft, spot on, spot on.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but yeah, it sounds incredible. Charismata, their previous film, was great. I really liked it, and this cast looks incredible again. And yeah, these guys know what they're doing, so I am very much looking forward to this. This
I mean,
clip
I could have
blew me away
watched
as well,
that.
man.
I could have watched that dinner conversation for another hour. It was so good. I love it when they do. I mean, I know you say it's not really a trailer, but sometimes they do release clips like this, and I find them a lot more effective because
Yeah,
trailers
sometimes they can
nowadays
work a lot better, right?
they just seem to show you everything. And when you see the actual film, you think, oh, that's the context that happened in. Well, I've seen that now,
Yes.
and I thought this was really good. It's really hooked me.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
definitely
Yeah. You
that's
know
what I'm
when
going
they
to
can
be
hook
seeing.
you with a dinner scene, just
Yeah,
purely based on the dialogue and the acting
yeah,
within that setup, man. You know you've got something good. So yeah,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
definitely a film I recommend everyone that's getting a Fright Fest pass. Check this out. As Chris said, it is playing at 6 p.m. on Thursday, October 22nd. You can, of course, buy single tickets for it if you just wanted to buy a single ticket to watch it. But this is definitely one I'd recommend. We're dropping the link down below to the clip. Check it out.
Are
Looks
tickets on sale now? Do we know?
Yes, yeah, tickets are on sale now. So you can buy your pass now. You can buy day tickets now. They are unlimited, from what I understand. So there's no rush.
Yeah, I've just seen the you can buy a festival pass for £66 6p.
Yeah, great bit of marketing there.
Yeah.
Great bit of marketing.
Have you got yours already?
No, I haven't, not yet. I just like the last one. I kind of left it until the last minute. To be
Yeah,
honest with
I
you,
mean,
I kind of
it's just whether I've got the time to watch
it's
them all,
time.
Scott.
Yeah,
That's the
same.
question.
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah. So for me, yeah, it just comes down to that. I'm going to leave it till essentially the last minute, and then as long as I can guarantee I've got the time over those 4 or 5 days to get my money's worth out the pass, then I'll do it. If not the pass, I'll definitely be buying quite a few single tickets, to be honest, because there's quite a few
Mm.
on here that I want to watch. Yeah, but it's incredible. But the only problem with Sacrifice is it clashes with Stranger, which you picked, and it also
Yes,
clashes with
yeah.
The Brain That Wouldn't Die. So I've got a real decision to make there, if I'm honest. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Two computers, two tickets, one on each eye.
Oh, I think it's
You know,
going to have to be. I
just
think I'm going
keep
to have to do something
turning
like
your
that.
head between them.
Yeah, I know.
Have you ever done that before? Like with two
Not.
films, have a practice run. Put on two
I've
completely
never
different
done it
films.
with a film. I've done it with football.
See if you can do it with a film.
Yeah, well,
You
the
can't,
problem is
surely.
it's like dialogue, right?
Exactly. You got to follow the
You've got to pay.
story.
Yeah, exactly. Where if you've got a sports game on, you don't need to know what they're saying. You just watch both games. And yeah, I've done it with football, but I've never done it with Yeah, I've never done it with film. It might be interesting. I don't know. Maybe try it out. Maybe you have like a pair of headphones, in one ear for one film, volume coming out the TV for the other one. I don't know. We'll see. All right, dude. So a bit of fun news, to be honest. So Travel Channel have made the announcement that a 2-hour Ghost Adventures special is coming, where they are doing a Halloween special investigation at the Joe Exotic Zoo. This is just a bit of fun, right?
It is, but I love Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, to be fair, I know what it's about. I've not seen Tiger King yet, so I need to watch that
Oh, you need
before.
to watch Tiger King, man. Wow, you
Before,
need
I
to watch
mean,
Tiger King.
whether I watch this or not, I know people are raving about it. And we actually picked up this a few weeks ago, I think, when we found out about the Travel Channel's massive list of Halloween shows they're getting. But I mean, this looks great. I love Ghost Adventures. I think they're really entertaining. My only reservation is, will we get to see it here, or is it going to be delayed for a few
Yeah,
weeks or months? That's the
yeah.
question. I
That
mean, no
is
doubt,
that is the
no
question.
doubt we'll get it. We get all of, well,
Oh,
we
we'll
get the
definitely
Ghost
get it.
Adventure
Yeah.
shows. I'm not convinced we'll get everything else that's on their lineup, because I think some of those shows we just don't get.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them
But I
guys.
hope, I'd like to think, because really, the channel that airs this stuff over here, I think is it really TV?
Really, yeah.
Some, yeah, I mean, they tend to do some special stuff for Halloween. So hopefully,
They
we'll
normally have
get
the
this.
special stuff kind of
Yeah,
on
and
point.
Ghost
It's
Adventures and our one, Most Haunted, is normally front and center of their Halloween
yes,
stuff. So I
yes,
hope
yeah,
they bring this over.
yeah. I would, and I mean this, like for me, when we spoke about the paranormal stuff, and I said about how sometimes it walks a thin line between entertainment and exploitation of people that
Mm.
could have mental issues. I mean, this isn't based around any people. This is just based around the rumors of the paranormal activity at a zoo. So yeah, for me, this is a bunch of fun, and they're not really exploiting anyone for this. They've obviously already shot it and got the episode ready. And there's a few quotes from Zach Baggins and a few of the guys in the show just saying that they themselves were shocked at how much activity there was. So yeah, man, I can't wait for this. You've definitely got to watch Tiger King first, though. That documentary is incredible. I've watched the documentary twice. It's a series.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's a series. I've watched it twice. I binge watch with my girlfriend series one the whole way through, and then we went back and watched it a second time as well, because it's just, you can't believe what you're watching is real. Like, it is.
Mm.
You were saying about the comments on The Lie.
Yeah.
If Tiger King was a dramatized series, people would be saying, "No way, too far fetched, wouldn't happen. Too many twists and turns. There's no way. Them characters, they can't be real. They're too outlandish." Man, just yeah, you've got to go and watch it. You've got to go and watch it, and you've definitely got to watch it before this drops. Hopefully around Halloween for the UK, but for our US listeners, definitely going to drop. Yeah.
We're quite jealous, I think.
Yes, yeah. I mean, just the way in it. America always get a bunch more Halloween stuff than us, and you know they've grown up spoiled with their kind of marathon horror film nights and stuff like that. I mean, we hardly get any of that over here, do we?
We will, Scott. We'll,
One day, mate.
you
One
and
day.
I will
We'll make
turn
it
it
happen.
around
We'll make it happen.
in
We'll
our
make it happen.
independent cinema.
I was just gonna say.
People can come and watch this kind of stuff.
I was just gonna say, in our independent cinema, that's what we're gonna do. The whole way through October, just horror movie marathons. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome.
It would be awesome.
Well, we'll leave that one there. We had to touch on it. Like we said, we're looking forward to that. I know a lot of our listeners are gonna get a real kick out of that as well. Gonna be real fun, I have no doubt about it. And a 2 hour special. I love a 2 hour special.
Yeah, yeah. 1 hour
So
is never
Chris,
enough with these kind of things.
no, 1 hour is never enough. 1 hour is never ever enough. So Chris, that brings us on to everyone's favourite part of the week, the creepy link of the week. That is all I'm going to say. I'm going to let you take it from here.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But holy fuck.
well, I thought, it's about time to return to Meat Canyon, and considering last week's one was about Satan in the Adventures of Mark Twain.
Yes.
I thought that was quite a nice link to this one, and this is a short animation that starts quite tongue-in-cheek with Lightning McQueen and Mater from
Yeah.
Pixar's Cars is quite over the top how he does their voices. But then he gets very serious very quickly as Lightning McQueen talks about a near-death experience at a train, which is Thomas the Tank Engine talking to him on this point of no return, where I suppose he's going to carry him off to death, or he returns back to
So cool.
life. And it's very, very, very creepy. So, what did you make of it, Scott?
Oh, Man, I loved it. I mean, it's called Railroad, and then when it
Railroad.
opens up, it's just Lightning McQueen,
It's just
Mater,
silly. Yeah.
over a campfire. Yeah, they're talking it, and then they talk about the blue train and the shadow, and you don't know it's Thomas the Tank yet. You don't know, but as a kid, I love Thomas the Tank. So as
Yeah.
soon as they said blue train, I was
You
like,
thought,
they're not
what?
going there, are they? And then it goes into this like dreamlike sequence, and
It's Meat
oh
Canyon. Of
man,
course they're going there.
yes, and then on the reveal of Thomas coming out the tunnel, man, it just got me. And then from
That
there,
face.
oh,
Jesus.
yeah, the face on Thomas, and the when he is then in front of Lightning, and the front of the train is extending as this
Oh
long
yeah.
Tim Burton-esque neck, and the creepy sounds they put in as like the neck's moving. Oh, it's
There's
so
there's
good.
like there's a crack as he first looks at him, and then
Yes.
there's this kind of wobbling, sickly sound as it sort of snakes across the
Oh,
background
it's
as well.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And we've got to talk about the dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue in this one was excellent.
It's so
Really,
good.
some of those lines could have been out of like a really, really good novel that had been written when he's talking about he's been past the stars. Do you want to dine from the largest halls? Reminded me a little bit of Black Phillip in The Witch when he's
Interesting.
uh, trying to tempt Thomas in.
Interesting. Do you know what
Uh,
it really, really reminded me of? I was watching this going, how is this not a scene from a Hellraiser film of Pinhead confronting someone that's
yes,
opened the box?
interesting. Yeah,
Like that was just straight on my mind. Like straight away, I was like, Thomas the Tank is Pinhead,
yeah.
and Lightning McQueen has just opened the box. Like the dialogue, that's exactly what I want from like a Hellraiser film.
Mm,
All the remakes we've had. No, this was, man, this was
such as
so good.
God has turned his back on you.
Right,
That was
right. Ah, honestly, so good. Animation again, just on point.
oh, it was really really good, and I think the only criticism I have, and it's not a criticism, this isn't for him to do anything about, but you could imagine, seeing this come up on a bloody kids playlist of Thomas the Tank Engine. It would just,
Can you imagine?
I'm sure he's put in everything that he needs to, like adult content and that kind of thing. But he's got a very sick mind.
Oh man,
There's a fine line, I think, between sickness and
yeah,
genius.
yeah,
And I think Meat Canyon, it's just one guy. He brings in a lot of people to do like the backgrounds, sometimes
yes,
to
yeah,
do special things that he needs done, but usually it's just him voicing it and him doing those. Certainly the front animations. I don't think he
yeah,
does the backgrounds.
yeah. He puts a good team together. You can see that in the credits. He is a very
Yeah,
good team that he assembles
yeah,
to put this together, and I think it's helped, to be honest, because I think this is a polished piece. It's creepy as fuck, and it's very disturbing, but it is very polished. It's very well put together. It's
you
very
get the
well thought
feeling
out.
the way it's made, even though they're very short. I mean, this
Yeah.
was actually a longer one. You get the feeling it takes a long time for them to do this.
Yes.
And, they're all
Yeah.
working out their bedrooms, no doubt. I just think the other thing is this is fairly new. It's only 5 months old. It's got well over 1 million views on it.
Yeah, that well over 2 million, two and a
Oh, is
half
it?
million. Yeah, 2.5 million views now.
Wow.
And yeah, like you said, it only debuted on May 4th. It debuted on Star Wars Day.
Obviously, some of his videos are just done for shock value.
Of
Some of them
course.
are funny. Some of them are a bit hit and miss. But I like the ones where a lot more thought has gone into it. So like this one and the other one, I can't remember what it's called, Sunrise or the Teletubbies one.
The
I just
Teletubbies one,
felt
yeah.
where there's something to say, and I
There's
think he's
something more there. Yeah.
yeah, there's something more there.
Like I said, I think this has it like just that the scene between Lightning and Thomas the Tank, that is the dialogue in that. Like I said,
Mm,
if you transplanted that setup, that dialogue into someone opening a box in a Hellraiser film,
yeah,
and that's how Pinhead confronts him.
and I,
That's what I want.
I
Like
have to
that's
say
how
as
good
well.
this is.
I know it's a cartoon, but that final shot in it as well,
Oh, it's
it
cool.
gave me chills. It
Yeah,
gave me a little
yeah,
tingle, even though I know this is Meat Canyon. It did give me a little.
Yeah.
Wow, I wasn't expecting it, considering, Lightning McQueen's on the screen as well.
Yeah, yeah. It blew my mind. I don't know how he gets away with it, copyright wise. That
Well,
blows my
I
mind.
can't remember if I told you this on air last time, but he didn't. One time he did something with Bugs Bunny. I think I showed it to you.
We covered the Bugs Bunny one, and you said that was it Warner Bros.
Yep, they
Copy?
told him to
Yeah,
take it down. They copyrighted
yeah.
it, and he did a big video explaining what happened, but saying the good news is because they've copyrighted it, that video that you've all seen is now officially canon.
Is now officially canon. Yeah. I mean, it's great. I mean, I know you can I know there's parody and you can get around copyright with parody, but I'm not sure where this sits on
No,
that.
no.
But yeah, man, absolutely incredible. I adored this. I absolutely love this. Once again, sir, you have
Awesome.
outdone yourself.
Thank you very
Every
much.
week, I think you can't top yourself. You do. I love this. This might be my new favorite.
Really?
Yeah, that again, it's because it really, really sparks my imagination.
And it
Like
comes out of nowhere as well.
yes, exactly. Like the Mark Twain one last week done that a bit again because of the dialogue, in it and the animation for Satan that really, really captured my imagination. This one kind of even more so because it put me in that headspace where I was like, right, that's what I want from a Hellraiser film. That's what's been missing from these remakes is the idea of someone lost and someone really tortured and someone really haunted by this experience of in this meeting Thomas the Tank,
Yeah.
but in the Hellraiser film meeting Pinhead.
See,
So
I always thought that in the Hellraiser films they didn't really, because it's a horror film. I didn't feel they pressed the ecstasy element of it as well. That it's
yeah,
full extremes of pleasure and pain,
yes,
and because it's a horror film, it's always all the gore and the pain. But I feel like they never really pressed that. You know what? It's so people. Some people are going to love. They became Cenobites,
yes,
and I think that's something that he did with this, with the Thomas character, when he talks about how would you like to get all the things you never knew
yeah,
you wanted. And that,
exactly,
I mean, that could mean anything.
exactly. I mean, that's Hellraiser 2. Like that is Hellbound with
Mm,
the doctor that
yeah.
becomes one of them, and he
Dr.
says,
Channing, is it? Dr. Channing?
Doctor
Channard.
Chan.
Channard.
And there's the like at the end where he becomes one of them,
Yeah.
and the big first reveal, the dialogue is something along the lines of, "And to think I fought this for so long,"
Yeah.
where he realized, "Oh, this is what I always wanted.
Yeah.
I always wanted that." Yeah, man. I mean, oh, dude, this is incredible. Oh, as soon as we stop recording, I'm going back and I'm watching it again. This is one of them. This is
Oh,
one.
brilliant.
I'm watching this
Glad
again.
you liked it.
Oh man, it was awesome. Once again, sir, you have outdone yourself.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, boys and girls. And until next week, stay safe, horror hounds.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.